The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the show. It's brought to you with Levi Solicitors, isn't it, Michael?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Always is, yeah.
10% discount on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. I'm still delighted that you get surprised by me throwing to you every time.
I'm not surprised at all.
We
I'm
do
just
this.
delighted with it.
Yeah. What's the better thing that's better than 10%? If you could get more off,
Well,
a bigger discount, you know.
I won't want to be too greedy, but I won't mind 15% off. You can get that.
As luck would have it, yeah.
On your wills, your probate, and your conveyancing.
The three big things. They are not known I don't think, in legal circles as the big three, other than it's just the thing you said, isn't it?
But I'm in legal circles myself.
Yeah.
You've got to remember that.
Yeah.
And I said they are the big three.
Yeah. When is your court date?
Walked right into that, didn't I?
Absolutely. Have a look at the Phil Hay Monday Club to get your 15% discount on wills, probate and conveyancing. Part 2 of the show is the Spurs preview. Off we go then. What are you looking forward to? Leicester versus West Ham or Everton Bournemouth? Are you even going to bother sit there checking it? Or are you just going to go, whatever?
There's no need. Other people will be checking. My phone never works anyway.
Yeah.
And I suspect we're not going to be in the lead anyway, so it's going to not really matter what's happening elsewhere.
I think we might take an early lead in this game because then we will technically be staying up for a bit, but they'll be so long in front of us.
You're basically looking at the screen grabs of the live league table.
Just waiting for...
That do the rounds after saying, well, at 5 o'clock we were staying up.
I think the opposite. I think it's got like Harry Kane 5 minutes written all over it, but then I think we'll come back.
A valiant comeback?
Yeah, but we'll just fall short and it'll be like, oh, Leeds just need one more goal. No, don't get it. Hit the post or something, or shot over the bar. And it's like, right, yeah. Everyone's dropped points, but we fucked it.
I don't think there's going to be any tension in this whatsoever.
No.
I've got to be.
It's not like you, Mike.
Just the way I think it's going to... No, sometimes I kind of predict agonising failure in this. I just think Everton will probably take the lead. Leicester will take the lead. We'll go behind. And it'll be like from about half an hour in, you'll be like, it's done this.
Do you think it'll be poisonous or do you think it'll be resigned or somewhere in between the two? Will it veer wildly?
It's hard to say. People will be sad. And there'll be a fair bit of defiance about it as well, I guess. But I feel like there should be some anger.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I think because it seems like changes are afoot and like Victor Orta's already gone and like a lot of these players seem like they're going to be going.
Well, we did that tip-off as well about Radrizzani maybe not being there for the final game. Seems likely when you look at it now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, if he's in Italy as well, it's kind of like, well, who do we get angry at? Do people really want to go and shout at Luke Ayling?
Because Angus will
Not
still be out
really.
on the piss when Luton get promoted on Saturday. He'll go raw. He'll go off grid.
Do you reckon he'll write some programme notes this week?
Nah.
It's been a bit quiet, hasn't he, for a while?
Yeah. Probably for the best, though, to be honest, given the way this seas's gone.
It should just be a big...
It's just things people get angry at.
Just, I'm sorry, and that'll be it. Really short notes.
Yeah. What if there's nobody there in the front row of the director's box? What if it's just
I mean, I think it's possible.
Mm.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just don't bother.
But then there's going to be even more pelters for not fronting it out.
Yeah, but
if I think
those pelters are on the internet. People can't throw actual items at you, can they?
I do think that that if Radrizzani is absent on Sunday, I suspect that's probably the biggest sign you're going to get that he's off.
It's a shame, really, in some ways. Not that I think we particularly owe him a great goodbye or anything, but he could have had it if he'd played this differently. If he'd have walked away at the end of the first season of the Premier League, or even at the end of last year, he could have left with general positivity about him. Yeah. People said, all right, been some fairly big mistakes, but...
You've left us higher up than when you found us.
Yeah, you've left us in the Premier League. You're handing us over to what seemed like to be sort of unspectacular, but probably fairly steady owners in the 49ers. You'd have to say, given what had come in the previous 20 years, good, a job well done. Whereas as it is, he's probably going to end up leaving us essentially where he found us, but with some parachute payments due.
Yeah.
So it's
not
all that great.
Having built something brilliant and then sacked Bielsa and then just pedalled back on all of it.
Mm.
Yeah, I have written a few weeks back now. It's sort of gone back to feeling like we're still being run by Cellino again. Just how we had that week where people were getting sacked and he was on Twitter saying, oh, it's all my fault, sorry for this shit. And it's like, oh, God, we're just back in the Championship with the same crap, aren't we? And yeah, like last season, because that's always been the thing with Radrizzani, like him, you know, he's chatted about guiding us to Europe. But then the goal has always been establishers in the Premier League, and they talked about the 2 seasons and how the second season is, you're just as likely to get relegated or whatever. You think, well, you did that last season. You've done all the hard bit. Again, just go, say bye now, and it's fine. You've done a good job. But yeah, now it's all just gone a bit sad, hasn't it?
And I suppose some of the unfulfilled promises as well of the talk was always that, well, you survive your second year, and that's when you press the button on stadium redevelopment, and you can kick into the next level and start behaving more like a proper Premier League team. And we got to that third season, and nothing. Not on the face of it, anyway. Maybe the stuff behind the scenes, but behind the scenes stuff, I can imagine that will have slowed because, well, who's paying for this? The way everything has gone towards the end of the transfer window as well, where it felt like, if kind of the rumours are to be believed, Radrizzani wanted to sell Harrison because that would have brought immediate money into the club, but then was happy to buy players because that was spread across 4 or 5 years. I don't know. The whole thing just indicates it's been run on the cheap for certainly the last sort of year or so. I think
looks like hand to mouth, doesn't it? A lot of the time.
It does really, and the fact we bought all of our players on contracts, like 4-year contracts with the transfer fee spread across, but then when we're selling Rafinha and Phillips, we want all that money straight away.
Yeah,
stuff like that. It does catch up with you eventually, and it feels like we've been. You can look at it and say it's a sensible way of doing stuff, but eventually, if you do that, your money runs out. You got too many direct debits going out.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like loading up debt on credit card.
Yeah, you're like, well, so this does need paying, and then you don't have the flexibility to maybe manoeuvre in future. So it's felt for a while like a big wedge of money needs to arrive to redevelop stadiums and to start properly, bolstering the squad as well.
I can't remember exactly who to credit for bringing this one to my attention. I saw it somewhere, but it's the quote from Batman. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, was the quote. And I think Radrizzani's probably done that.
You saying when should he have died then?
I was thinking more quick.
Okay, sold. Sold. Not direct.
Yeah.
Not a direct.
No, you don't have to actually. Yeah, it feels a bit over the top.
Yeah,
does that as an outcome?
Maybe the game when Berardi and Pablo left, Radrizzani should have done the same. Just gone onto the pitch, done a little wave, left the pitch in tears, never to be seen again.
Probably say bring him on for the last 10 minutes. Give him a game.
He wouldn't surprise me if he did bring himself on at some point. Or did he bring himself off? Because he does seem to think quite highly of himself.
Spurs then have only won 1 of the last 7. Clearly on the beach. There's nothing going on. They're not arsed. Even Arne Slot's not having a bar of them. He knows they're dead Spursy. He signed his new contract at Feyenoord. Remarkable football club. Ryan Mason is in charge. This is one of those games where, had Leeds not sort of collapsed and shown a complete and utter lack of backbone, you really could have fancied us to win this. But it turns out we're just a lot worse than we feared.
Yeah, for like 2 months, I've just been thinking, get to the final day, if we're still in it and we've got to beat Spurs, I'd be really confident. But then having watched the second half of last week, I've kind of lost all faith in that, which is annoying because they're a mess. Like, they're basically facing the same summer we're facing in that they don't have a director of football, they don't have a manager, and they want an overhaul of the squad, and nobody there seems particularly arsed. But it's weird, like, I remember last season thinking, when it got to the last day, I was like really confident of we needed Newcastle to get a result against Burnley, didn't we? And I was confident of that, but then I was a bit, I didn't have a great deal of faith in Leeds at Brentford. And yeah, like I say, for the last 2 months, I've been thinking, I'm confident Leeds getting something against Spurs. And I was thinking, Everton, Bournemouth, though, and all that. Whereas now I don't have faith in anything, actually.
I've been talking in recent weeks about the fact that the football gods are clearly deciding which way this one goes, which is why I think we might win this. I think we win this and we go down because it'll just confuse everybody's emotions. We want to be angry, we want to be bitter, we want to sound off, but we'll win and we'll put everything into it and we'll have to applaud them off. But we won't want to because we're angry because they've taken us down. What do we do?
See, I just think they'll beat us because I think the players look. The second half at West Ham, it looked to me like they'd given up.
Yeah,
they didn't feel like there was ever a moment of like, well, we might as well just pile forward here. We need to win this.
Yeah,
it just felt like we were meekly accepting the fact that we were going down, and I don't see that changed in this game.
Yeah, I've never bought into the thing of like the players don't care and out trying, because I think every manager that's come into Leeds have said like this group of players are like do work hard and they're really professional and they are committed. But I think we do just look beaten. Like the whole thing just looks broken. I think they've always been basically losing every week for 2 years and have kind of forgotten how to win basically. And we've seen that like in that second half against West Ham, and basically for the last 2 months, where on like that Palace game, it takes one goal before half time and the whole thing collapses. And Spurs with players like Harry Kane and Son and our defence, they're just going to score, aren't they? I can't see us keeping them out and staying in the game for long enough, really.
I mean, will it be as bad as last season? Because that had a bit of a funeral there, a bit of a wake to it.
What, the Brighton game?
No, the Spurs home game.
Oh,
Bielsa's last game, the 4-0.
That one. Yeah, I missed that. I had COVID.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
Yeah, it was
lucky bastard.
Yeah. Lots happened since then, hasn't it?
Because they were 3 up within, what was it, half an hour or something like that?
Yeah.
That was a typical Bielsa game where we just got behind straight away, but we actually created loads of chances.
It was like 14 or 15 we had, didn't we? Or something
yeah,
like
there was that one where Stuart Dallas had an open goal and just kept dribbling towards goal, and you're thinking, he's not going to put it in. He's not going to put it in. Why is he not putting it in?
Put it in, Stuart!
And then it got blocked or whatever. Yeah, but that was bad, but we're a very different team to that now, aren't we?
If someone had told you that day in a year's time would be going down with Sam Allardyce as manager, you'd have been like, no, surely they wouldn't do that, would they?
No.
We have done it. And 2 more managers in between.
So we've got an owner who appears to be absent and not giving a shit anymore, who might not turn up.
Mm-hmm.
A 4-game manager who leaves after this, who doesn't really give a shit at this stage.
I suspect he's not spent his £2.5 million bonus, has he?
So we've got players who have given up and have mentally collapsed. But apart from that,
half of them are leaving as well. Don't forget that.
I am quite looking forward to what Allardyce says at the end of this game. So he's sort of been hinting at, look, I will finally tell you what I actually think at the end of all this. And I mean, he didn't necessarily hold back after West Ham, did he? Because he just said all the subs were crap and Jorginho Rutter doesn't exist. So yeah, it will be interesting to hear what he's got to say when he is speaking his mind.
like he hasn't been so far. Yeah.
The idea of the players being just generally looking beaten, but not necessarily not putting effort in. I think there's probably something in that because it comes from a churn of managers as well, where they'll probably be thinking, well, we've kind of tried everything, and none of it properly, because Marsh's instructions were nonsense. Gracia seemed to just come in and try to steady the ship, and then Allardyce has come in to do his thing. But they've tried loads of different ways of winning games, and none of them have worked. So there's a bit where you just throw your hands up and go, can't win.
I mean, you must have been in a situation as well where, whether it's at work or at home, where someone is chucking different parameters at you for the same job. Like you feel like you've done something, but now you tell me to do it this way, and you get annoyed and you just kind of lose your way and you lose your motivation.
Tell us more.
I was going to say, what are you talking about?
This is dishwasher.
I was thinking of work.
This is dishwasher based.
It's not dishwasher. I always love the dishwasher because I do it right.
I was thinking, what have you cleaned wrong?
It's the big bust up of 2007. You've done the dishwasher ever since.
I very patiently and tolerantly take everything out of the dishwasher of an evening and put it back in because it needs to go in correctly.
See, I knew there was something.
There's no fallout about it anymore.
No.
Just silent, bitter resentment. But I was thinking if you're told to do a job, if you've ever had a manager at work who asks you to do something and says, "Oh, don't do it that way, do something else."
Yeah,
well, why?
That's not what I wanted actually.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's what you asked for.
Yeah.
So
see, and you just end up getting confused and demotivated, and you just think, "Oh, whatever."
yeah.
I'm not saying that. Like I say, they've not given up. I think they're all completely lost, aren't they? Much like the club itself.
And we're finishing the season as well. Like I don't even know who's going to play in this game. Like, is it still going to be Robles in there, or do we just stick Melier back in? Is Christensen still at centre back?
Does anyone care?
Does Firpo come back in? Do we drop McKennie and Rocker because they're seemingly both off, but we can't got any other midfielders anyway because Archie Gray's off playing kids football somewhere
At right back
because he's a child. Don't know. Just chuck some players on the pitch. Play Rutter. That's what I say. Just play him.
I suppose that's the question mark, isn't it? The attack. It's funny actually you said that because on the way in here I was like, I've not even thought about who might play at the weekend because I just sort of don't care anymore.
It feels like just a day we've got to get out of the way now, doesn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, that forward line I guess will be interesting. What he's going to do. Presumably Bamford isn't going to be fit if he's pulled his hamstring. Rodrigo, is he just going to make him limp through 90 minutes? Because then he was talking about, well, I'm going to have to change the system. But who plays there? Because it doesn't sound like he's going to throw Rutter in anytime soon.
Just put him in, give him a game.
You might as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for him.
Expose him to the vitriol of Ellen Brand.
I suppose maybe it's best he doesn't actually.
Play him, and then at the end of the game say, and that's why he's not been playing.
Yeah. Well, it would be like when Warnock put in Habibu. Dear me. Well, it'll be done and dusted. Do you even care what happens here?
Well, I mean, I'd like us
Do you want us
to
to
stay.
win
I'd
and
like
stay
us to
up?
stay up.
Yeah.
But I feel like the chances of it are so incredibly remote. I'm not even considering it.
It's about 3, 4, 5%, depending on where you look.
Yeah,
Chances of it.
it's not happening.
I mean, yeah, just talk about it now. We are probably neglecting just how bad Spurs are. Like, they are terrible. So I guess that does give you hope. And it's one of those where, well, I suppose what happened at West Ham, like you think if we were to go ahead or just start the game quickly, maybe they will think, oh, I can't be bothered. It's nothing in it for us. We've been rubbish for weeks. Whereas at least West Ham they do have a bit of a good vibe going along, and there's like all the stuff with Declan Rice. Whereas with Spurs, it doesn't really feel like that. They're playing away from home. You'd hope if Leeds do start well, the atmosphere will kind of get into it. But yeah, I don't know.
Spurs, they're still trying to avoid getting the Conference League as well. So they actually probably don't want to win this. Because if they finish 7th, they have to do the Conference League thing, don't they, I think? No one wants that. None of them want to be going to obscure European cities on Thursday nights. So maybe they'll try to lose.
Maybe. Let's hope so.
But I mean, if they do, I mean, they're in the table next to Brentford, for God's sake.
Imagine if we stayed up. Just for a second, imagine what it'd be like. I think I'll say this week, like, I'd be more angry if we stayed up now than if we went down.
No,
I've just been feeling like that.
I'm just
How
going
can
to
you
enjoy
do
it.
this to us? You've had all season to address this, and now I'm furious.
I'm going to be so confused at the end if we do stay. But it would it would be amazing. Like the weather's been great all week, blue sky, sun. Late on a Sunday kick-off. Going to be like in the pub. Is it bank holiday on Monday?
Mate, it's my birthday on Monday.
Oh,
So, and I'm getting relegated for my birthday.
Well, yeah, but this is what I mean.
But
if you stay up, like what a day it could be. Which is a shame that it's not going to be.
I mean, I think for me, the anger can come later if we stay up. I'll just really enjoy it.
we were going to say get really drunk then, were you?
Well, probably, yeah. Just have a good time if we stay up.
Just not go home.
But we're not going to. So not making any plans for it.
Part 2 is done and dusted of the show. Heroes and villains then to come in part 3. I'm looking forward to picking a hero of the week, aren't you? That'll be along in your YouTube feed shortly.
The Square Ball Podcast.